The question that changed everything, from frustration to fulfillment. 1. Introduction. It was a quiet Saturday evening, and I had just returned from a long day of meetings. My career was soaring, and I couldn't help but feel energized by all the new opportunities on the horizon. I walked through the front door, my head full of ideas for the future, but there he was. My husband, Daniel, was sitting on the couch as he usually did after work, staring blankly at the TV. There was no spark in his eyes, no excitement about the future, just a weary man drifting through his days. I tried to ignore it, but the frustration had been building up for months. "You don't seem to care anymore," I said, my voice sharper than I intended. "Do you even work hard anymore?" The words slipped out before I could stop them, cutting through the silence. I never expected what would come next. Backstory. Daniel and I had been together for nearly a decade. We started out strong, both of us driven, ambitious, and full of dreams. He had always been passionate about his work, and we shared plans for the future. But over time, I noticed a shift in him. It wasn't just about his job. He seemed content to let things slip by without making any effort to change or grow. I had tried to support him, but after a while, it felt like I was the only one moving forward. I had taken on more responsibilities at work, and my career was flourishing. But Daniel? He seemed stuck in a rut. His procrastination, lack of ambition, and the comfort of inertia had started to wear on me. I loved him, yes, but I resented the man he had become, the man who had lost his spark. That evening after my meeting, I had had enough. I wanted to know, did he even care about anything anymore? 3. The conversation. When I asked him, "Do you even work hard?" His reaction took me by surprise. He didn't lash out as I expected. He didn't retreat into his usual defensive shell. Instead, he paused, his eyes flickering with something I hadn't seen in a long time. Shame, anger, maybe even regret. "I don't know," he admitted softly. "Maybe I don't." In that moment, I realized how deep the problem really was. It wasn't just about his job. It was about everything. He had lost his purpose, and in doing so, he had lost the version of himself that I had fallen in love with. I knew something had to change, but I wasn't sure if he was willing to make that change for himself. For the transformation, it wasn't a sudden transformation. There were no grand gestures or life-altering decisions. But little by little, I began to see a shift. Daniel started waking up earlier, not just for work, but to focus on his own growth. He began reading again, something he hadn't done in years. He took on side projects that had always intrigued him, but were previously pushed aside for excuses. I saw the fire return to his eyes, the passion that had been missing for so long. But even as I watched him change, a voice inside me questioned, was he doing this for me? Or was he doing it for himself? I didn't want him to change because of me. I wanted him to rediscover his drive because he saw the potential in himself that I had always seen. 5. The turning point. One evening, as we sat down for dinner, Daniel looked at me with an honesty I hadn't heard before. "I think you were right," he said, his voice calm but steady. "I wasn't working hard enough. Not just at my job, but at my life. I've been coasting, letting time slip by." His words hit me hard. It wasn't about me anymore. He had realized on his own that he needed to make a change. For himself. "I want to make something of myself," he continued. "Not for you, not for anyone else. For me." In that moment, I realized that the man I had fallen in love with wasn't gone. He had just been buried beneath layers of self-doubt and complacency. And now, he was back. But this time, he was different. 6. Resolution and reflection. As the months passed, I watched Daniel grow more determined, more driven, and more present. Our relationship had evolved too. I no longer saw him just as my partner. He had rekindled his own dreams and aspirations, and together we were growing. We were pushing each other to be better versions of ourselves. Looking back, I realized that my harsh question, "Do you even work hard?" was the catalyst for this transformation. It wasn't kind, it wasn't gentle, but sometimes harshness is what it takes to wake someone up from their complacency. I wasn't proud of the way I said it, but I was proud of how he responded. Now, he's working hard, not to prove anything to me, but to prove to himself that he is capable of more. And in the end, that's all we can really ask for. To be the best version of ourselves, not for anyone else, but for our own fulfillment. 7 conclusion? We all have moments when we need a wake-up call, a reminder that we are capable of more than we think. Sometimes those calls come in the form of harsh words, but it's how we respond that truly matters. What do you think? Was I right to challenge Daniel? Or was it too harsh? Share your thoughts in the comments below. How do you handle moments of complacency in your own relationships?